completely confused as to how many calories per day you should be having on Zepbound weight loss or TIRZEPATIDE weight loss? Well, you are in good company. I'm Elizabeth. I'm Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 107 pounds through Zepbound weight loss over the last 2+ years of being on Zepbound, Manjaro, and TIRZEPATIDE. And on today's episode, I want to share my experience, strength, and hope so you can walk away today knowing exactly how many calories you should be eating with Zepbound or TIRZEPATIDE weight loss, and also for our Wegovy and semaglutide friends. But friendly reminder, I'm not a medical doctor. Always talk to your own healthcare provider. This is not medical advice, simply my experience, strength, and hope. So it is completely valid. And I want to tell you to be like, I don't know what I should be eating. For me, coming from such a morbid obesity background, it was very much like, ooh, what do I eat? How much should I be eating? And untangling this unhealthy perspective with food has been one of the best blessings over the last 2+ years of being on this medication. So you're gonna walk away with today's video with a ton of resources so you will know exactly how many calories you should be having on Zepbound. Those links are also gonna be, I'm gonna verbally talk about them, but if you're a visual learner too, click the ... more button twice here on YouTube. They've changed the way that the description link is displayed, but I've got a ton of resources for you. So this is very common. And also want to say step one is your dose will vary. For me, I'll use my I statements. As I went through different doses, that changed how many calories I was able to consume. So I had a plan of action of, okay, here's what I'm planning to eat, and then here's what I actually ate. Anybody else have had that issue of like, okay, I want to have X number of calories, but my body is just too full. I've certainly have had that. And then I've also had the inverse of, I'm really hungry right now. My body's telling me it's hungry. It's giving me signals. I'm on Zepbound, to give context, Zepbound 15 milligrams, have been for the last year plus. I need to be on a higher dose, but there is no brand name that is higher than what I'm currently on. In a year, we'll probably see, or two, we'll see Calorie Sema and retatrutide and a ton of other higher level GLP-1s come out. And so knowing and feeling first and foremost what hunger is, and also when I'm full, because that has dictated my calories per day based on that feeling. And so with that, acknowledging that as doses titrate up, that there has been a change on that. What I do per day for calories is on countessofshopping.com. I will link this down below, and it is a calorie calculator, and it specifically figures out for you, totally free. My gift to you is being part of the Countess of Shopping audience. I love you guys so much. We had this created. If you want imperial or metric tracking, whatever, I know we have a lot of international folks, you can flip it towards you want. So I plopped in these numbers. I just made them up. A female, she was 35. Honey, I wish. More Botox, please. I'm 35 years old. Weight is 195 pounds. Height is 5'11". And then on there, it has mild weight loss or weight loss. So if you want to go slower or you want to go faster, you just change that drop down right there under goal. That will switch. Like I switched it to a different one of mild. You can switch it. Oh, I didn't switch it on that one. But then the second part of that is you click the activity level. This is going to discern your calories per day of either light, active, or extra active, or sedentary, moderate, very active. If you click on those hyperlink over the question box, it will give you specific, like light, for example, activity level is 1 to 3 workouts per day. Active is 3 to 5. And then like the extra active is like, you're like a marathon runner. She is not that over here. So that's one example. And it said my calorie range for the mild weight loss with light activity for the week is 2,074 calories per day. Next example is sedentary lifestyle. So I clicked from light activity to sedentary because I wanted to see, and with a mild weight loss, it was 1,810. Now I had changed this to be weight loss, not mild weight loss, but weight loss in the far left drop down under goal. I changed it and I put moderate activity and then also active activity for it. And that changes things. I have gone anywhere with that calculator and I use that calculator. It's told me a range. And the reason why I want to share with you, there's a couple of ways you can figure this out. Of course, always talking with your healthcare provider on this. This video is to help communicate for your trained professional. I'm your bestie, but I'm not your trained professional. But I have a range of 1,500 calories, which is very low. If I am lifting and doing these heavy things, I cannot sustain on a 1,500 calories. I get so hungry, and then at night I counterbalance that. And for me, with old habits and old tapes, because of the old stuff pops back up, I can't binge eat on Zepbound, but I overeat. And then that stops me in my tracks with my weight loss. So I'm sharing that with you because I've been around the world from London to the Bay. Hammer go, hammer yo, MC hammer. Russ can't go to play, can't touch this. No, the point of the, just making sure you're paying attention. So with lifting and exercising, this very much changes my range. An extra 500 calories, 1,500 calories up to 2,000 plus calories. That is a wide variation based on activity level. So if you have just started activity level with your Zepbound weight loss, because Eli Lilly tells us in our literature we need to make 2 major lifestyle changes, it is diet and exercise. With that information, it's gonna change my calorie range. And so I have a new way that has been so helpful for me to push past my weight stall along this journey. But first, I have been very helpful in making sure I stay in my calorie range the last 2+ years, 27 months of being on Zepbound, Mounjaro, and TIRZEPATIDE compound is LMNT electrolytes. I take and continue to take LMNT electrolytes for my Zepbound side effects, but also because it helps with the recovery for lifting. It has magnesium, potassium, and sodium. It's salty tasting, but you can completely customize it towards what you want. And I 100%, and I've done this the last 2 years, 2 years, have taken Zepbound the day before my shot, the day of my shot, and the day after my shot. And then I usually take it most days, but those have been like non-negotiables for me because of the Zepbound side effects. And typically now what I've switched my routine for is I take a third of the stick. I love orange, it's my favorite flavor. I was hyper fixated on raspberry salt for a long time, but now I'm on my orange era. But a third. So a third I'll put with 40 ounces of water because I like it that way. If you want to do this whole thing in 12 ounces of water, great. I like having a third in a 40-ounce water, and then I do that thrice throughout the day. They do also have their sparkling electrolyte cans, which by the way are fantastic. When I have my LMNT electrolytes, I eat less than a day. I do. For me, it's very filling, it's fun, it tastes good, and the cans, for example, just 5 calories. Just 5 calories. And so like this is an easy way for, and I'll have one or the other usually. I usually don't have more than one day, but you could if you're extra like sweaty Betty. For me, I don't. If I'm extra sweaty Betty, I will, but that's few and far between of where I've sweated that much. When I go to the beach and I get, even then I usually have just one, but sometimes I do have 2. I digress. This has been instrumental for the calories per day of me having less calories per day. The intention of LMNT electrolytes is the electrolyte component, but for me, one of the side benefits is I don't need as much in a day. And you know why I know that? Because I track. I track my calories, and on my daily calorie tracking per day, here it is. Nope, that's not what I wanted to show you. On my daily calorie tracking per day, I can go back through my data because a track number grows, and I can see within that data, okay, how much have I eaten? Oh, I guess I took it off. I was going to show you my daily calorie tracker for the day. I can tell. I eat substantially less with LMNT. So you can go to drinklmnt.com/queen, QUEEN, get 8 free sticks with any purchase. There is a big surprise coming out that I'm not allowed to talk about, but when I can share about it, I'll share about it first in my free encouragement group, link down below, but get your 8 free sticks with any purchase at drinklmnt.com/queen. So now that I know how many calories per day I can have because of my free calorie calculator on my website, I can then go through and then talk about my appetite and fullness level based off the science of Zepbound. For me, because I track with my free side effects tracker on countessofshopping.com, I feel the shot 24 to 48 hours after my shot day, very much appetite suppression. So I'm not eating my calorie range. That calorie range I'm supposed to have, let me go down to the lower one, because typically now I try to shoot for most days around 1,800 calories. So on day 1, if that's my shot Monday, I'm not having as much appetite suppression, but Tuesday, Wednesday, if my shot day was on Monday, so 24 to 48 hours afterwards, I am not consuming 1,800 calories. I'm not that, like, it's much easier for me to consume less. But here's what, because I've been on Zepbound 15 milligrams for the last year plus and been on medication for over 2 years, GLP-1 medication, I find day 5, because it's half-life dose for Zepbound, meaning that half-life dose, my hunger is coming back. The appetite suppression has lessened and I'm hungrier. Day 5, day 6, day 7. You know what I do? The 1-2 punch. I combat that. On the other back end of it, I combat that then by tracking my calories per day over a total of the week. I'll track daily, but I will average out for the week to be in that calorie deficit. Does that make sense? So if I'm not hungry at all, I'm not going to force feed myself. To me, that seems very counterintuitive to the medication. Other people will disagree with me on that. That's great. The beautiful part about this journey is you do you, boo. You pick and choose what you want and leave the rest. Take what makes sense for you with your lifestyle. I'm a mom. I'm 40 years old. Like, I'm a wife. Like, you can go through and you may be like, well, I'm a dude. I'm not a woman, and I don't have any children, and I'm not married, or you know what I mean? Like, it very well could be different. And so you've got to take what you want and leave the rest out of this. For me, which is why I went through the gamut of going through the calorie calculator to figure out my range in a given day when I'm working out and when I'm not working out. That has been so mentally helpful for me to know, what can I do? Because I'm a rule follower. I do really like to follow rules. It bothers us. I like to push the line a little bit, but for the most part, I really do like to follow rules. And so knowing that range and giving myself some wiggle room, with that. So as I titrate up on different doses, this is the other big component for you, is if you are titrating up doses and you're stair-stepping up, here's the thing that I have found with stair-stepping up, is that I'm not when I titrate up the dose, for me, typically the first injection, the first week, and then the second week, I am not as hungry. And so that is going to whack out my calories. Now, here's the dangerous part of this too that I think is really, really important to share. If you are continuing week after week after week to not be eating enough calories, you know what that's going to lead to? Problems, potentially, in my non-medical opinion. But massive hair loss from massive weight loss happens when we don't have enough nutrients, right? And so being mindful of that, too much weight too quickly is also not a good thing. Loose skin, but that can also lead to pancreatitis, appendicitis with Zepbound medication, but also the vanity metric of loose skin, but also hair loss. It takes 3 months to see hair loss, and then 3 months to fix that hair trauma, meaning 6 months total of when you first starting to notice it. Or it's already been 3 months into it of you noticing it. So my encouragement to you is, it's awesome to be like, oh my gosh, I'm losing weight so quickly because I'm not eating enough. Well, that's where being in this good balance is helpful, and talking with your healthcare provider. Of course, what's going to factor into this is your starting weight. Your starting weight, your height, your sex, your activity level, which is a huge variable. Huge. Where I was activity-wise, now is completely different. I walk 2 to 6 miles per day. I lift. Like, my activity level is huge, and my muscle mass, and also other medical health conditions. Someone had asked in my free encouragement group, which I love, this was such a great question. They're like, well, how often should we be looking at our calories? For me, it's like every 10 pounds. And if I'm having activity level changes in that, rechecking. That free calculator on my website, use it a million times. Like, for me, it's so helpful. I'm there frequently because I'm curious, and curiosity is a great thing on this weight loss journey. I'm curious from the initial phase of when I started versus later phases. I go through different phases. I'm going to need to adapt. That's why we have opposable thumbs. It's because we are adaptable and we evolve as human beings. Hello, thank you, opposable thumbs. And so as we go through Zepbound, my experience, and again, this is simply my experience, always talk with your healthcare provider, is my approach has changed over time differently for what works and then what stops working. Because invariably, I'm gonna hit a weight plateau. If you've not seen my weight plateau series, you're gonna wanna check them out because there's science behind the weight plateaus. Typically for people on Zepbound, it's at the 72-week mark is when they hit, like, that's the weight. That is. For me, I'm like, I would not hit that weight if there was more than Zepbound 15 milligrams, but I digress. And that for me wasn't, I'm still losing weight and I'm how many months, not 72 weeks in, how many weeks am I? I'm over 115 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark, at least over 110 off the quick math off the top of my head. So going beyond just numbers, going back to health and wellness, because I'll tell you what, I came into this whole Zepbound journey very poor food, being morbidly obese and being over 300 pounds, there was not a healthy perspective of food for me. And it started since my first diet when I was in elementary school, and then now being in my 40s. So changing for me the things that are going beyond the focus of just calories in, calories out, because it's not this, is protein prioritization. I love protein forward food. So I'm tracking my calories, and you may say, where do you track that? I just use MyFitnessPal because it's free. I'm cheap on that regard. It's a free thing and I can track it easily in my calories and I can track my protein very easily. And it's been so helpful for me to learn how many calories is certain foods. Number two, nutrient dense foods, focusing on quality foods like fruits and vegetables for me. Huge, 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 huge. And then the third thing is listening for my bodies for cues. Our bodies are giving us signals all day long. And when I was in, I don't want to say the word because I don't want this video to get flagged. It rhymes with the fruit that are grapes. That recovery, if you can follow the thread in which I'm trying to say to be compliant with rules. When I was in the fruit grape recovery, there was intensive learning for me on body signals and body cues. Our bodies are giving us signals and cues all the time if I choose to listen to them. If I choose to listen to them. And coming from a perspective and background of being morbidly obese, there was that protection mechanism of not wanting to listen to my body and like the disassociation of it. So for me, getting very good at when my body, what does my body feel like when it's hungry? What does my body feel like when it's full? And learning those cues, it took me a long time. And I always say I'm a turtle, fellow turtles unite. I am slower than the average bear, and that's okay because turtles win the race. I'll tell you the ending of the story. Turtles win. And so with that, learning those hunger and fullness cues then also have helped me really adapt well to my calories. Then I know, okay, I'm still hungry today. And some of that, by the way, if I'm continuously hungry, for me, I had a pocket of where I was trying to hit 1,500 calories, and y'all, I could not. At nighttime, I kept going back to the kitchen. I'm like, I'm so hungry. My body's giving me cues. It's telling me I'm hungry. That was like, you're not eating enough calories. And so I had to seek wise counsel. And they're like, it's because you're working out and you're lifting. You need to be eating more. So go back. And so that's why the calorie calculation of where now I track it, every couple of weeks I go in there and look to make sure that my mind is right? Because I'm still learning and I'm still untangling some of that unhealthy food perspective. I have come a long way, but still unraveling some of that too. Hydration, super important. Super, super important along this journey. That's hence the reason why I talk about element electrolytes all the time. Staying hydrated with water and with electrolytes too, like really, really important. Somebody asked me the other day, do I count like decaf drinks and iced teas? I'm not a medical person. I personally count my iced teas unsweetened, but they have in it caffeine, and caffeine can make us dehydrated. So keep that on your, for coffee, I count that, but it's decaf is what I drink. But some people will say that's not water. Some people will say, like, you do you in terms of that. For me, I count that as my water. And so the key factors people should figure out is BMR and total daily energy expenditure, TDEE. I am not proficient on those things. So I want to give you my strengths and my weakness. That's my weakness. I don't know all of that. That's not my background. And I feel like it would be not authentic for me to start sharing all of that. I know some influencers come on here and pretend. That's not me. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to punch you towards, here's the calculator, talk to your healthcare provider on it, figure out your minimum calorie intake with that, and then your maximum one. And for me, having that range has been so helpful. And then one of the things is you can get an appointment with a dietitian. I like dietitians because they have higher levels of education than a nutritionist. A nutritionist can simply get a certificate on the internet. I didn't know that until literally like last year. I'm like, really? I thought they had the same level. It's not the same level of education. Dietitians are more educated than a nutritionist. And one of the other things, again, to bounce off as a free tool, ChatGPT AI or Gemini, that's through Google, that's Google's AI, that's Google's ChatGPT, you can start utilizing that to help you figure out things with prompts. So for example, and I did a whole video on this, it's in my playlist, of asking AI prompts of like, okay, I'm a 40-year-old woman, X, Y, and Z. I give everything about myself in the prompt. The prompt matters. So number one is the prompt. Number two, what are you asking for? I would like to have a week-long meal plan ranging in calories of X, Y, and Z. Give me specific cups, ounces of how much the quantity should be. And then ask it for the format you want. I want it in a bullet point list. I want a grocery list with that. I want recipes with that. Then the third part of that is tell it what you want in the format you want to receive that information back with. That has been helpful. And then I say back to it, would a dietitian approve what you've given me? Right? ChatGPT still has a ton of flaws in it, but it's a very helpful resource. Also, if you're eating out, I go to ChatGPT of like, okay, what should I have from Chipotle that's X, Y, and Z calories? Super helpful in that regard, right? Start using AI, ChatGPT or Gemini towards your benefit of figuring out your calories too. Calories are very individual. Very individual. This will vary from each person. It is not a one-size-fit-all cookie cutter mold. This is very different. Also because medical conditions vary too. And if you add in there for my type 2 brothers and type 2 diabetes brothers and sisters as well, like also factoring those things in. It may be a little bit different for somebody with sleep apnea on Zepbound versus Manjaro, which is Zepbound, but just with a different FDA approval of the food in which and quantity in which one is having. So our accountability question of the day, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Tell me down in the comments below. And make sure you go to drinkelement.com/queen to get your 8 free sticks with Element electrolytes. And then number 3, I do emojis of the day to get to know you better because I care. Our emoji of the day Our emoji of the day is going to be a Christmas tree because I love Christmas and it's hotter than the Dickens today here in Virginia, and I really have been thinking about Christmas and it brings me joy. So Christmas tree is our emoji of the day. I do an emojis of the day to get to know you better because I truly do care. I do a daily show because I love interacting with our community. The counts and countesses in this community are chef's kiss, amazing. And I will also pray over you. It's like our bat signal for me to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, I will uplift you in positive thought. All are welcome at the Countess of Shopping table, pending you're nice. And if you want all of my resources I talked about in today's videos, all the free ones and all of that, just go to the affiliate link, click the ... more hyperlink, and then you may need to click that more hyperlink a second time. YouTube has made it hard to get my full list of everything. And on countessofshopping.com/shop has all of my discount codes and discount links too. The Count just put that together over on the website at countessofshopping.com. So you can easily take advantage. I negotiate for all these discounts, so take advantage of them too. My sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. Don't forget to share this video with your bestie who's on GLP-1 medication. We have so many. It's so fun seeing people come into our community and then bringing their friends in with them that are on GLP-1 medications. I love it. It makes me so happy. So, and if you've made it this far in the video, you're one of my besties too. So I love you, bestie. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.